two swords, it is revealed that Fern was created when Finn accidentally broke the Finn sword with the grass sword while fighting Bandit Princess. During I Am a Sword, sometime later, a spider-octopus-like grass demon interacted with the small Finn inside the sword. The grass demon wrapped the Finn sword in goo, forming a cocoon around him. At an unknown period of time later, the interior of the sword was filled with green cobwebs, and the cocoon appeared hardened. Both the Finn sword and the grass demon expressed desire to get out. The grass demon told the sword Finn to let him do the talking when they escape. Fern emerged in Reboot when the grass sword touched the Finn sword again and began to cover it until Finn's arm detached from his body. When Fern first emerged, he looked like a lump of grass with a face, but then he began to look like Finn but made out of grass, even gaining the ability to speak. He then revealed that he believed that he was Finn, remembering everything Finn remembered. When he first saw the real Finn, he thought he was a threat, believing that the real Finn was just somebody trying to be like him. He then went to Jake and asked him to tell him who the real Finn is, to which Jake logically responded that Finn was the real Finn. This upset him, especially when Finn and Jake began yelling at him, calling him a demon. After this, Fern went to Finn and Jake's tree fort, believing it to be his home. He then walked in and said hello to Bimo. Confused by this, Bimo ran into a hole where Fern couldn't find him. Fern was confused and kind of in denial. Fern started looking through a scrapbook of Finn and Jake's adventures, admiring it. Later, Fern was frustrated and confused and began to trash the treehouse, scaring Bimo even more. Bimo immediately called Finn and Jake, and the two came straight home. When they got back, Jake was furious with Fern for scaring Bimo and trashing their house, making Fern even more upset. Realizing the creature meant no harm, Finn offered him a Finn cake. Finn cakes are for Finn only, so this made Fern feel more like himself. The group then went to bed and forgave one another for anything they might have done or said. In Do No Harm, Finn had to step out of the tree fort to check on Susan, meaning Jake had to be alone with Fern, much to his chagrin. Finn told Jake to pretend that Fern was him and do Finn stuff with him. Jake made Fern meatloaf, which Fern tried to eat but learned his body was unable to consume food. This upset him since Fern still had memories of food and how it tasted. Fern was also unable to play the flute since he doesn't breathe. Jake then gave Fern the idea of going to an evil dungeon to smash. Fern then took Jake to the grassy mountain where the grassy wizard lives. On their visit, they fought grass monsters which made Fern happy, albeit a little more violent than Finn would. At the top of the mountain, they saw a grassy wizard who recognized Fern, realizing he came from the grass sword, causing Fern to realize that he made him. Fern then proceeded to ask why he, as the grass sword, existed, only to learn he only made the grass blade because it sounded cool and was a play on words. With no real dark plan behind him, when the grassy wizard asked Fern to kill Jake, he then punched the grassy wizard as hard as he could, knocking him out. At the end of the episode, the grassy wizard was hospitalized and Fern was upset, but Jake said he did the right thing. Finn met the two and told Fern he did a good job. Fern was not yet named, so Finn called him Grass Meat, while others mostly called him Grass Finn. Fern then realized that he is not Finn, so he came up with a new name, Fern the Human. Fern stole Starchy's motorcycle and took off. In the invitation, it was revealed that Fern lives on top of the tree fort roof. Finn was about to leave for his journey to the islands, so he wanted Fern to fill in for him while he was gone. Fern was flattered by this, but Finn told him to kill monsters his way. It is also revealed that Fern crashed Starchy's motorcycle as well. In whispers, Fern begins to become even more jealous of Finn. In 3 buckets, Fern finds out that he can make himself look like Finn. Then he traps Finn on the other side of a locked stone door and tells Finn that he was Finn for too long and that it was his turn. After Finn discovers he can turn his metal arm into a rock-breaking device, he breaks down the door and turns on Weed Whacker mode. He tackles Fern and they fight, until Finn accidentally cuts Fern to pieces. Essentially, Fern is dead, but a mysterious man picks up his remains and puts it in a bucket and walks off. Fern's eyeball moves, implying that he can still be alive in a way. In 17, a mysterious Green Knight crashes Finn's birthday party. In a match of arm wrestling, it is revealed that this Green Knight is Fern. Fern has been revived by the Mystery Man, who is revealed to be Princess Bubblegum's Uncle Gumball. The following comment was left by one of my favorite subscribers, Darth Goku. He always has something interesting to share, and I thought I would include that here. Ever since Fern's introduction, one thing I've always wanted to see is for him and Huntress Wizard to meet and interact. I think that would just be really cool and interesting to see how the two would react to each other, since they both are plant people with magic powers. That's got me thinking, do you think that Fern might feel the same way about Huntress Wizard that Finn does? Fern has all of Finn's memories, and if you think about it, he was technically there when Finn first met Huntress Wizard, back when he was still a part of the Finn sword and Finn's grass arm. The thing that drew Huntress Wizard to Finn in the first was his magical flute playing, which according to Finn was the result of him letting grass arm do whatever it wants. In Flute Spell, the first thing Huntress Wizard did after meeting Finn and learning that his grass arm was the cause of a magical flute playing was to immediately run over to examine it. Now that the grass sword has left Finn and has become part of Fern, does that mean that Finn can no longer do the magical flute playing that Huntress Wizard loved so much? If you think about it, it was technically Fern who was playing the flute for Huntress Wizard, not Finn, since it was the grass arm doing the flute playing. Finn eventually lost his grass arm when it became Fern, and when Huntress Wizard later showed up in that tree in the episode Wheels, it looked as though she was frowning. It was almost like she could tell something about Finn's flute playing was different now. Even the kids in the park were saying that Finn's flute playing sucked. By having his grass arm turn into Fern, it was like Finn lost a part of himself. The part of Finn that had attracted Huntress Wizard to him in the first place is the same part of him that eventually became Fern. I wonder if there's something more to this. Another point of note is in the episode 17, Huntress Wizard gave Finn an elk heart as a gift, saying that it had emotional value. It was like she was symbolically giving her heart to Finn, and later on, she had him eat it to gain strength, but his body rejected it and he puked it out. Perhaps this was meant to symbolize that Huntress Wizard is too much for Finn to stomach because of her MMS. What if the show is trying to say that Fern is the one meant for Huntress Wizard, rather than Finn? I think Fern and Huntress Wizard might work out better as a couple. They both seem to have some sort of internal conflict where they have lost part of their identity, one from diving deep into the world of magic, and the other from living in someone else's shadow.
Yeah, man, hey, it's 2018, man. Happily ever after theorists doing big things. Big things, yeah, man.